Welcome back to English from A to Z.
Mhm.
You know, we spend a lot of time on vocabulary grammar, but today we're really diving deep, like right into the engine room of how American English actually sounds.
Yeah, we're tackling probably the trickiest part, the vowels, and this related semi-vowel.
Exactly. We've got this huge compilation of source material, really detailed stuff. The idea is to forget those labels you probably learned, like A, E, I, O, U, or even long and short vowels. We're getting physical.
That's the core of it. Our goal today, based on all this research, is to just strip away those labels. They're often misleading, honestly, sometimes downright unhelpful. We want to get down to the actual mechanics, what your tongue is doing, the shape of your lips, and crucially, these kind of hidden postural settings that really shape the accent.
hmm
We think this deep dive is, well, the roadmap to understanding these sounds in a truly well-informed way.
And we're kicking off with something that might sound a bit radical, especially if you learned English in a classroom somewhere. The whole concept of vowel length, is a long A or a short A.
Mm.
Our sources suggest focusing on that is actually a major distraction.
Oh, absolutely. It can actively hurt your progress.
Really? How so?
Well, think about it. If you're told, okay, this is long E, make it long, and this is short I, make it short, you start deliberately stretching or clipping sounds. But that's not how native speakers control duration. You end up distorting the natural rhythm, the musicality of the language.
So what should we focus on instead, if not length?
Syllable stress, that's the key.
Yeah.
We'll show you why focusing on which syllable gets the emphasis is way more important for rhythm and for how long a vowel actually sounds.
Okay, let's dig into that. Starting right at the beginning, the foundations. And the sources are super clear on this. It all starts with posture.
Right. Before you even try to make a specific vowel sound, like an E or an A, you need this basic mouth posture, and it's anchored around the neutral sound, the schwa.
The sound, like when you're thinking.
Exactly that one. It's the default resting state for the American mouth, apparently. It naturally makes the tongue sit low and kind of back.
So it's like the home base for the tongue.
Precisely. Think of it as establishing the center of gravity. Every single other vowel sound, even the really high front ones, has to be made starting from this low back position. If your tongue is already high and forward when you try to say like, the E and eat, you just won't get that characteristic, deep, resonant American sound quality.
And maintaining this posture involves something called the center of gravity tension, and specifically the hinge. What's that about?
Okay, the hinge is critical. Imagine the sides of the middle part of your tongue gently touching your side teeth, kind of back by the molars. That's the anchor point. Keeping that contact, that hinge, forces the main body of your tongue, the middle part, to stay lower than the sides.
I see.
If you lose that, if the middle of your tongue flattens out or pushes up and forward, the sound just kind of collapses.
Collapses how?
The sources describe it as sounding thin or reedy, maybe even whiny. It's that classic sound you hear when someone hasn't quite nailed the underlying posture. The tongue isn't returning to that low back default.
Okay, so it's like building a house on a shaky foundation. If the posture's wrong from the start, everything else is off.
You got it. That low back hinged setting is non-negotiable. It's the prerequisite.
Got it. Okay, posture first. Now, assuming we've got that baseline, we hit the next big hurdle, English spelling.
Oh, boy. Yeah, the research really hammers this home. You have to train your ears, not trust your eyes. English spelling is, well, let's just say it's not phonetic.
It's chaotic is what it is.
Pretty much. Take the sound E, like in the word eat. The phonetic symbol, the IPA, uses a lowercase I. Simple enough, but in English spelling, you could see EA, like eat, EE, like see, just E, like in he, EI in receive, IE in peace, even AY in key.
Wait, key. Q-U-A-Y. That makes an E sound.
It does. And don't forget the letter Y at the end of words like happy or only when it's unstressed. That's often an E sound too.
Okay, that's just wild. 7 or more ways to spell one sound. So if you're looking at the letters E and thinking, that must be longer than just E, you're already going down the wrong path.
Exactly. The visual input is a total trap. And it gets worse. The IPA symbol for the Y consonant sound, like in yes, is actually the letter J.
Which is the J sound in English, like judge. Confusing.
Completely. So the takeaway is listen, listen, listen. Verify the sound you hear. Don't just react to the letters you see.
This loops us right back to that vowel length myth. You hear linguists say vowel length isn't phonemic in English. What does that actually mean for someone trying to learn?
Okay, phonemic just means, does changing only the length change the meaning of the word? In some languages, it absolutely does. Like Japanese, maybe. Making a vowel short versus long could give you two totally different words.
But not in English?
Not in English. Making the I in ship longer doesn't turn it into sheep. That difference comes from a completely different tongue position, a different articulation, not just holding it longer.
So the length differences we do here are, what was the term, allophonic?
Right, allophonic variations, they exist scientifically. For example, the vowel in the word kit is objectively measurably shorter than the vowel in kid.
Why?
Because the dowd sound in kid is voiceder, your vocal cords are vibrating. The dow in kid is voiceless. Voiced consonants tend to slightly lengthen the vowel just before them. It's a predictable context thing.
But if the difference is real and measurable, why are the sources so insistent that trying to control it is a bad idea?
Because we're talking about tiny differences, like
Yeah.
tenths of a second,
Yeah.
maybe even less. It's practically impossible for a human to consciously control those microdurations accurately while speaking normally.
Okay.
So when a learner tries, when they focus energy on, okay, I gotta make this E longer than this I, they just end up sounding unnatural, stilted, they break the flow.
So the real problem with calling E long E and I,
Yeah.
the short I, is that they aren't just longer or shorter versions of the same thing. They're fundamentally different sounds made in different places.
Exactly. They're different muscular actions. The labels are misleading. Calling one long encourages artificial stretching. Calling the other short encourages artificial clipping. It completely misses the point of how duration works in real speech.
So if vowel length is a dangerous distraction, what's the real solution? Where should that focus go?
Unequivocally, syllable stress and rhythm. Stress is the conductor of the orchestra. It determines how loud a vowel is, and yes, how long it feels in the context of the sentence.
A stressed syllable gets more energy, so the vowel naturally sounds a bit longer and louder.
Precisely. And an unstressed syllable gets less energy, so the vowel naturally becomes shorter, quieter, often even reducing towards that neutral schwa sound we talked about.
And the proof is that even a supposedly long vowel, like E, can become super short if it's not stressed.
That's the acid test. Take a word like remove. Stress is on move. The first syllable, re, has that E sound. Now, you could reduce it to a schwa, like remove, but if you choose to pronounce the E fully, like remove, listen to how quick and light that E is.
Yeah, it's very short.
If E was inherently long, you wouldn't be able to make it that short and quiet in an unstressed position. The fact that any vowel's duration changes based on stress proves that stress is the boss, not the vowel label.
Okay, foundation laid, posture is key. Ignore spelling. Focus on stress. Now let's actually walk through the sounds, starting with the front vowels. These are all made with the front part of the tongue, right? High to low.
Correct. We start at the very top, the highest, most front sound. E as in eat or see. For this one, the mouth is very closed vertically, almost a slit, and the front of the tongue is pulled up high and forward near the roof of the mouth.
And the lips, they're doing something specific too.
They are. A key feature for the American E is that the lips often pull back slightly, kind of like a relaxed smile, so the mouth is wide horizontally, even though it's closed vertically.
That's interesting. So it's not just pulled straight back, but wide?
Yeah, that width seems important. If someone's native language E is just tense and forward without that lateral spread, the English E might sound a bit flat or dull. The sources also mention the American E isn't quite in the absolute highest, most forward corner you see on vowel charts. It's actually backed off and lowered just a tiny fraction, slightly more relaxed.
Okay. Now, moving just a little bit down and relaxing things slightly, we get to the I sound, like in it or sit. This is where posture gets even trickier.
It really does. So I is a bit more open than E, a bit more relaxed, still using the front of the tongue. But the key difference, the sort of hidden fix, according to the research, isn't just relaxing. It's about actively pushing down on the back half of the front part of the tongue.
Pushing down on the front. That sounds weird. Why push down?
It does sound counterintuitive, but here's why. Many learners try to make vowels by tensing and lifting the center line of the tongue. If you do that for E, you accidentally keep the tension too high, too close to the E's position. It sounds thin, sharp. By consciously depressing, pushing down just in front of that hinge point we discussed, you force the tongue to relax that central tension. It makes the sound sit slightly lower, slightly more towards the middle. That gives you the clear, relaxed I. It's like an active correction.
Wow. Okay. That's a very specific muscular action. And of course, spelling trips us up again. Sit versus sight.
Ah, yes, the magic silent E. It's almost always a signal that the vowel sound changes. Here, it changes the single sound sit into the gliding sound, the diphthong I, sight. We'll get to diphthongs later.
Okay. Dropping down further now to the middle front vowel. E, as in men or bed.
Right. Mid-height. The tongue position here is relatively flat, and the jaw is open about halfway. This one's in a real danger zone for a lot of learners. It has to be low enough, open enough, so it doesn't sound like E or I, but it also has to be closed enough, high enough, so it doesn't drop down into the next sound, the A, cat. It's a precise spot.
And other languages might have a similar sound, but place it wrong.
Exactly. Often they might make it too far forward or too central in the mouth. To an American ear, that can make it sound like it's creeping up towards E or I. Keeping that flatter tongue shape helps anchor it correctly.
And we can't ignore the spelling rebels here. EA usually says E. Eat, but not always.
Nope. You've got common words like said, head, bread, even death. The EA spelling makes the EA sound. Just going to memorize those. It proves again, sound over spelling.
Finally, the lowest front vowel, often called the hardest.
Yeah.
The A sound, like in cat or man.
This one takes commitment. Your mouth needs to be really open, way more than for E or I. And the tongue shape is crucial. It's not flat. The sources describe it like a bowl shape curved. Low in the middle, higher on the sides, touching the teeth, maintaining the hinge. And critically, the very tip of the tongue must be low, down below the bottom teeth. If the tongue flattens or the tip curls up, you lose that front tension and it risks sounding like the back vowel
Okay, that bowl shape is a good visual. Now, the research mentioned a raising or tensing hack, especially before nasal sounds.
Yeah, this is interesting. You might notice, especially in some American accents, that the A sound in words like man or camp or hang sounds a bit different, a bit tenser, raised.
Also,
The back or middle part of the front tongue actually tenses up and raises slightly. It moves away from that extreme low bowl shape. Phonetically, it's actually a slightly lazier or reduced version of the full A.
so why is it a hack?
Because if you're really struggling to make that wide open A sound, and many people do, it feels unnatural at first, the advice is. Try intentionally adding just a little bit of that tenseness, that slight raising, even when it's not before an M, N, or NG. It can help stabilize the sound. It might not be the perfect dictionary A, but it often sounds clearer and more distinct than a failed attempt at the super open version. It's a practical adjustment.
That makes sense. Use a slight variation to get closer.
Yeah.
And what about the nasalization itself? Why does it sound so much stronger on A before M or N compared to, say, the U sound before M or N?
It's pure mouth geography. Nasalization happens when the velum, that's the soft palate, the little flap at the back, lowers to let air into your nose for the upcoming M or N. Now, the A sound is made right at the extreme front of the mouth. The velum is at the extreme back. So that nasal quality has to travel across the entire length of your mouth cavity. The distance makes the change in airflow really obvious, really noticeable. With a back vowel like U, the sound is already being made much closer to the velum. So when the velum lowers, the change is less dramatic, less distance for the nasality to color the sound.
All right, let's move to the edges now. The Y sound. Linguists call it a semivowel, but most English speakers just think of it as a consonant, like in yes or yellow. What makes it semi?
It really boils down to how much you restrict the airflow. The Y sound is made in almost the exact same spot as the high front E vowel we started with. But for Y, the tongue is pulled back just a tiny bit more and it's slightly more tense, creating a bit more friction or restriction in the airflow.
So E is open vowel flow. Y is slightly squeezed vowel flow.
That's a great way to put it. Just enough squeeze to make it feel and function like a consonant, but it originates from that vowel position.
The big confusion point for learners, though, is the letter Y, right? Especially at the end of words.
Oh, absolutely. It's maybe the worst visual trap in English spelling. When you see the letter Y at the end of a word like happy or city or study, it represents the E vowel sound, not the Y consonant sound.
So people try to say happy, yeah.
Exactly. They see the Y, they think year, and they add that consonant sound. It instantly sounds non-native because it breaks the rhythm you just have to learn. Final unstressed Y usually equals the E vowel sound. Ignore the letter.
And this semi-vowel nature really shows up in smooth, connected speech with the small Y linking rule.
Yes. This is something native speakers do completely automatically without thinking. It's key for fluency. The rule is, if a word ends in a high front sound, that's E, I, or the diphthongs AI or OI, and the very next word starts with any vowel sound, a tiny quick Y consonant sound gets inserted between them.
Like C becomes.
See it, or I agree becomes I agree, go away becomes go away. Wait, that's the W linking? Similar idea, we'll get to W. But for Y, high front vowel plus any vowel, insert small y.
It sounds like we're intentionally adding a sound, but the sources called it an illusion. Why?
It's an illusion created by the movement itself. Think about it. To make the E sound, your tongue is already up high in front, very close to the Y position. As your tongue then moves away from that high E position to get ready for the next vowel sound, it has to pass through the slightly constricted Y spot.
It just travels through that zone.
Exactly. And that brief passage creates a tiny puff of friction that our ears perceive as a Y. It's not deliberate, it's just physics. But it conveniently helps link the words smoothly, following the general English preference for consonant-vowel flow. The Y acts like a little phonetic glue.
Okay, shifting gears now, moving from the front of the mouth to the back. Let's tackle those deeper, more open sounds. First up, the A sound, as in caught or caught. Our sources recommend teaching these as one merged sound.
Yeah, for practical purposes, especially for American English, embracing the caught-caught merger makes a lot of sense. It means teaching just one main low-back vowel sound. Let's call it ah. Trying to force learners to distinguish between the subtle difference in caught and caught is often more trouble than it's worth, as many Americans don't make that distinction consistently anyway. So, one sound, ah.
Got it. And for articulating this ah sound, what's the absolute must-do?
Open your mouth. Really drop the jaw. This is a very open sound, and the work is done by the back of a palm. Keep the front of the tongue down and relaxed. Don't let it curl up. And the crucial warning, no lip rounding. Zero. None.
Even though the spelling often has letters like W or L that usually suggest rounding, like law or walk.
Exactly. Those letters, the silent W in law or saw and the silent L in walk or talk, before a consonant, are purely spelling conventions. They are historical markers signaling, hey, use the back vowel ah sound here. They are not instructions to round your lips. If you see ah or out plus consonant, Think open jaw, back tongue, flat lips. Say ah.
That's a really important clarification about spelling versus sound. It's okay, moving slightly higher in the back and maybe a bit forward. We get the U sound like in book or good. The sources called this the high schwa.
Yeah, it's a useful nickname. It feels like you maintain that basic low schwa posture, but you focus the attention just on the front part of the back tongue. You push that specific area slightly forward and up. It's a bit of a balancing act. You need that forward push for the sound, but you also need to maintain that center of gravity pressure pushing back and down to keep the rest of the tongue low. If the whole tongue slides forward, you lose it.
What about the lips for this book sound?
They should be pretty relaxed. Maybe a tiny, subtle upward pull, almost like the start of an R sound. Some sources suggest this helps focus the sound, but absolutely no strong, tight rounding. If you round your lips fully, you'll make the next sound by accident.
Okay, so relaxed lips for book. Now, for that next sound, the highest back vowel, U, as in to or blue. How is this different?
This one does need lip rounding. It's also a high back tongue position, lifting towards the soft palate. But the key is how the lips round. They need to round up and around, almost forming a tube or an oval, pointing slightly upwards, not just puckered straight out. This specific rounding shape is really important for the native sound quality.
Up and around, not straight out.
Got it. And posture warning again. Even as the back of the tongue lifts high for this U, the middle part of the tongue must stay low, maintaining that hinge. No flattening or pushing forward in the middle.
Okay, last one in this back group. The O sound, as in go or home, which is actually a diphthong, a glide. First, the spelling trap.
Big time. Just seeing the letter O is totally unreliable. It could be the ah sound, or the son, or the book sound, woman.
Wow.
For the O diphthong sound, you need reliable patterns. Usually O followed by a silent E, like home, rope, note, or the OA spelling, like boat, road, coat. Those are your best bets for the O glide.
And the articulation. There's a schwa start hack mentioned.
Yeah, this comes back to that default American posture. Because the tongue rests low and back, schwa, many native speakers don't start the O sound right in the final, perfectly rounded O position. Instead, they often start slightly towards the schwa position and then immediately glide up into the O as the lips round.
So the jaw movement.
The jaw might drop just a tiny bit at the very start for that and then it closes smoothly as the lips round. And the rounding itself is similar to the U too, sound that up and around shape, but starting from a slightly more open jaw position because of the schwa start.
All right, we've hit the main single vowel points. Now for the sounds that move. The diphthongs. De, meaning two vowel positions blended together.
Exactly. Two positions, one smooth, continuous motion. That glide is everything. No breaks, no pauses between the start and end points. It's a single muscular gesture.
Okay, let's break them down. First, the A diphthong, as in day or wait. Where does it start and end?
It starts in a position that's a bit lower and maybe slightly more forward than the pure E men sound. It's kind of its own unique starting point for this glide. And it moves towards the eat sound. Or maybe think of it as ending in a very relaxed, higher front sound, a lazy E.
Now, this one poses a specific challenge for speakers whose native language has a different default tongue posture, right? Like maybe Spanish or Japanese speakers.
Yes, this is a fascinating mechanical insight from the research. If your natural resting tongue position, your center of gravity, is already quite high and forward, maybe anchored near the third tooth from the front, which is common in some languages for their E sounds, making the American A glide is tough.
Why? What happens?
You'll likely start the glide too high and tense, making it sound thin or pinched. The research suggests a fix, but it's complex. You have to consciously anchor on that familiar third tooth, then deliberately relax the rest of the tongue down and back to find the American low back posture. Then shift your anchor point slightly back, maybe to the fourth tooth, and then finally initiate the glide.
Wow, that's like reprogramming your muscle memory before you even start the sound.
It is. It's about establishing the correct baseline posture before the movement. That relaxation and anchor shift is key.
Okay, a subtle but huge point. Next diphthong. I, as in my or time.
This one starts much lower down than the A glide. The starting point is a unique, very relaxed, low vowel. Almost an ah sound, but maybe even a bit lower and specific to this diphthong, and it glides up towards that same I endpoint.
And the feeling of the movement.
Yeah.
Low to high.
Yeah, it should feel like a movement from low back central up towards high front. Some speakers might feel a slight scooping motion upwards and forwards with the middle of their tongue during the glide. That's fine as long as you maintain the hinge on the sides and don't let the whole tongue flatten out.
Got it. Third glide. IOW, as in how or down.
Okay, this one starts in the exact same low, relaxed ah place as the I diphthong just did, but its destination is different. It ends in the high schwa position, the U sound from book.
And the key here is coordination.
Perfect coordination. Jaw drops open for the ah start. Then, simultaneously, the jaw starts closing while the lips round into that relaxed ooh shape for the high schwa endpoint. The tongue makes its scooping journey from low to high back-ish, all in sync with the jaw closing and the lips rounding. It's a three-part harmony.
Okay. Last main diphthong. OI, as in boy or coin.
This glide starts with the merged A, sound that open, back, ah, and it glides forward to end in the I sound.
But the lips do something unique here.
Completely unique compared to the others, especially OW. For OI, the lips need to be already somewhat rounded and pushed forward right from the start of the sound when you're making the ah.
So OW starts open-lipped and rounds closed. OI starts rounded and moves towards the unrounded I.
Exactly. It's the opposite lip dynamic. You hold that initial O-like rounding as the tongue travels forward from the back ah position to the front I position, where the lips finally relax.
Okay, we're nearing the end of the sounds themselves.
Sure.
Let's wrap up with two consonants that are closely related to vowels. W and H, starting with W, like in wish or water.
Right. W is voiced, meaning the vocal cords vibrate, and technically it's a semi-vowel, like Y. First thing to get straight. That old voiceless WH sound, like trying to pronounce the H in what or where, it's basically gone from modern American English. Forget about it. We just use the regular voice W.
Okay, good to know. And the common mistakes people make with W.
The research points to three main ones. One, closing the lips too tightly, making it sound too harsh or like a B almost. Two, not opening the jaw enough inside the mouth. You need space behind the lips. Three, the big one, pronouncing it like a V.
Ah, the WV confusion. How do you fix that?
It's all about the bottom lip and the top teeth. The V sound needs friction there. For W, you have to consciously, deliberately make sure your bottom lip stays far away from your top teeth. Create space. If you feel or hear any V-like friction, your bottom lip has strayed too close to the teeth. Pull it down and forward slightly.
Keep them separated. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And W is related to the U vowel, like to.
Very closely related. Both are made high and back in the mouth with rounded lips. The key difference is tension. W, being a consonant semi-vowel, needs a bit more tension, a bit more restriction in the airflow than the relaxed U vowel. If you relax the W tension too much, it just becomes a U sound.
Okay. Finally, the H sound, as in he or hot. Conceptually, this one is pretty cool.
It really is. The sources call it the voiceless vowel consonant, and that's literally what it is. H isn't really its own sound. It's just voiceless breath, a puff of air, that takes on the exact shape of whatever vowel comes immediately after it.
So to say heat, you make a voiceless E shape with just air, immediately followed by the voiced E sound.
Precisely. That's one way to think about producing it. Just breathe air through the vowel shape. Another way natives produce it involves a very slight, gentle narrowing or constriction way back between the back of the tongue and the soft palate, just enough to create a soft os friction. But the key, thanks to the default American posture, is that it should not be a harsh, throaty scraping sound. It's light and airy.
And H likes to disappear sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Besides words where it's always silent in American English, like hour, honest, air, and often H frequently vanishes in fast connected speech, especially between words or syllables, like reheat often just becomes reeat, or give him becomes given. It's just smoothing things out. Hashtag outro. So we've really covered a lot of ground there. That's what, 12 distinct vowel and diphthong sounds plus Y, W, and H. We looked at articulation, lip shapes, tongue positions. But the main takeaway, the big picture from all this research for you listening has to be this. Getting American English pronunciation right isn't just about knowing where a dot goes on a vowel chart. It's so much more about mastering those kind of unseen postural settings, that low back hinge center of gravity we kept mentioning. And it's about active dynamic articulation that starts from that posture, not just static positions.
Absolutely. And, thinking about tying it all together, there's a final fascinating point from the source material that connects W, U, and even R. We talked about how W and the high back U sound too. Very close, right? High back rounded lips. Well, the research hints at this delicate balance, specifically in the middle of the tongue, that exists right on the edge between the W sound and the R sound.
Ah, interesting.
So here's the practical test for you. If you're practicing your W sound, maybe in a word like what or well, and you feel or hear even a tiny hint of an R sound creeping in, like what sounds a bit like rat, or well sounds like R well.
Okay.
That tells you exactly where your posture is breaking down. It means the middle of your tongue isn't staying low with the hinge. It's starting to flatten or bunch up slightly, creating that R-like retroflex friction.
Wow. So hearing an accidental R in your W is a direct signal that the core posture, the hinge, isn't being maintained.
Precisely. It's such a subtle difference, that W versus R boundary, but controlling it relies entirely on maintaining that deep postural setting. Listening for that tiny R sound could be a really powerful diagnostic tool as you continue your own deep dive into these sounds. It's a great place to focus your attention.